welcome to KTAL News Now. I'm your host, Anthony Mocklin, and today is Tech Tuesday here on KTAL News Now, which streams every day, Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. on KTALnews.com. And today we normally like to talk about technology-related news and entertainment, and we'll have plenty of that. But first, we'll get into the Rose Parade. It's actually the 137th edition of the Rose Parade, or also known as the Tournament of Roses, in Pasadena, California, ahead of the Rose Bowl in college football between the undefeated Indiana Hoosiers and the Alabama Crimson Tide. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the parade, it is typically a 5.5-mile route down mostly Colorado Boulevard in Pasadena, and it takes place the morning of the Rose Bowl. And it features several different flower-covered floats. You have marching bands that are going up and down, and you also have horses that are featured. And this year, for the 5th year in a row, actually, Louisiana will have its own float called Gulf to Gumbo. And you can see it in that picture right there. That's kind of just like an idea of what they're going for. It features a giant pelican chef that is stirring a pot of gumbo and is being carried by a shrimp boat, just to highlight all the cultural significance of New Orleans and its food. And that will be on full display at the Rose Parade this year. And previously, the themes of New Orleans floats included Louisiana Saturday Night, Celebration of the Year of Music, and Celebration Riverboat. And you can find more information about that on our website at ktalnews.com. But those previous editions of the themes won several different awards. Last year, they won the Director Award, and then in 2024 and 2023, back-to-back years, they won the Showmanship Award after they won the Legacy Award in 2022. So, you know, they've been racking up the awards every year that they've been in it. They have taken home an award for it. With the Showmanship Award, you know, it shows off that display of culture that we are known for in Louisiana. And I'm very, very excited to see what we can expect this year with this year's theme of Gulf to Gumbo. There will also be a mid-parade entertainer, and that will feature country singer and American Idol runner-up and also Louisiana native John Foster. And KTAL's Marissa Diaz got to speak with Foster, as well as Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser, to give a behind-the-scenes look at this year's float.
So we were talking about the weather, right? So Pasadena weather is quite different than Louisiana weather.
Pretty chilly out here right now.
It's chilly. You know, a Louisiana 55 is different from a Pasadena 55, and I didn't think it'd be like that. And I was up here for months, but something about this trip, I'm always cold. But it's better than being smoking hot, I can tell you that. It's better than that.
That's right. Well, we hope that you have a wonderful time there. I know it's been a huge planning process. I've seen the video of the float building. It is amazing. What can viewers expect this year when they see Louisiana's floats?
Well, you know, the theme is teamwork. And we decided it takes a great team to build a pot of gumbo from the crops that we grow, seafood, the crawfish, the chefs, all the spices. And what better way to top it off than with a great Louisiana ambassador, John Foster, performing, doing the parade. So it's all the great things about Louisiana music, the food, the culture.
Absolutely. It's just going to be a big, beautiful gumbo pot of all the great things that make Louisiana one of the most special places you'll ever visit. You know, great music, great food, great people, great culture, great art. You know, the float is an art piece in itself. And so I'm just honored to be a part of it.
It's absolutely beautiful. The renderings are beautiful with, you know, Gulf to Gumbo is the name of the float, and it features a giant pelican with stuffed shrimp and crab and crawfish and onions and all the good things, like you said, about that Louisiana is part of, that the culture is. And I know we are entering the 5th year. Is that correct? Of us being part.
5th year.
5th year. Amazing. Tell us a little bit, John. I really wanted to, John is the rising country star and American Idol runner-up. Can you tell us a little bit more about your mid-parade performance?
Sure. And just to preface a little bit, I'm somebody that this isn't my first year knowing about the Rose Parade. I've known about it for many years. I've been very proud of the people who've done it before. You know, Laney Wilson, Timothy Wayne, these great people that come from our state and represent it proudly. I'm super excited, though, to be singing one of the very best songs that Louisiana has to offer, one of our theme songs, I think. It's Jambalaya by Hank Sr., and Hank Sr. is one of the most important people to be associated with Louisiana, right? He calls many places home, but Hank Sr. has such a strong tie to Louisiana, and to be singing one of his songs at such a great parade like the Rose Parade is going to be a true honor to show people just how special our state is.
You are absolutely correct in that. And can you tell us a little bit about the float design? Because I know I mentioned it, with the big pelican and kind of the seafood in there. Can you tell us what the connection is with the float and to food?
Well, we wanted to highlight all the Louisiana products. Mike Strain and his wife will be riding, our Commissioner Ag. So besides promoting tourism and our great Louisiana talent and our ambassador, we're promoting all those Louisiana products. The Crowley rice, Slap Your Mama, Uncle Larry's, all those great seasons that are produced and sold out of Louisiana. So it gives us an opportunity to not only sell our great musician, our great tourism, but also all those great Louisiana products we offer in Louisiana.
That's amazing. So can you let us also know who else? I know you mentioned Governor Nungesser. Can you mention who else is going to be part of the float? Obviously, John Foster will be there. Who else is going to be part of that?
Well, we have one of our shrimpers who will be riding with his white shrimp boots. We have a chef representing the North Shore. We have Uncle Larry, who produces so many great Louisiana products. So we wanted to have a little flavor of everything on that float to highlight all the great things that come out of Louisiana and give those people a chance to promote their products to everybody in the world that will be watching.
And if somebody wanted more information about the float and about the Rose Parade, where would they go to visit online?
ExploreLouisiana.com.
That's got all the information. Okay, ExploreLouisiana.com. Perfect. So this is the 137th Rose Parade in Pasadena, California, going along Colorado Boulevard for 5.5 miles. When do you guys start planning? Like now for next year?
Absolutely. The month after this parade, we'll start laying out a design, coming up with a theme. And remember, we have 100 plus Louisianans out here that over the next 3 days will be putting over 100,000 roses, orchids on this float. And we found a little old lady in Pasadena. She's from New Orleans, has a beignet truck. So right now we're serving hot beignets to everybody decorating all the floats.
And they're very good.
And we'll be serving jambalaya for lunch.
Oh, how fun. I wish I was there. I'd like some of that. I could put some flowers up there. How fun is that? What have you guys walked away with? I know we talked about this is our 5th year being part of the Rose Parade, but is there something that surprises you every year or that you're just amazed at? I can imagine just the beauty of all the floats.
Well, I think Louisiana steals the show because we bring so much out here, the beignets, the food, seafood, and we have a good crowd that follows out here. And Louisiana, we treat strangers like family. So they just keep coming back for more. So I think our greatest asset is our people from Louisiana and the way we treat people. So we've made friends for life out here, and every year they come back to see us here in Pasadena.
Yeah, that was actually one of my first takeaways too. Is this is my first year, but I was surprised at the sheer number of fellow Louisianans that came out here. Pasadena, California is not a hop, skip, and a jump. It's not exactly easy to get all the way over here on this West Coast, but so many people did it, and that just shows the dedication of the people from our state. They're dedicated so much that they're going to travel all the way here to support us, to make sure that this float, this organization, this representation is the very best that it can be. And I firmly believe that it is. It's the best that it can be.
Well, I actually grew up watching the Rose Parade. I'm originally from California, and then I feel like it's full circle, right? So now I'm interviewing you guys, and it's Louisiana, and I watched it, and it's an amazing tradition that's lasted for 137 years. And I'm so proud to live in Louisiana, and then I'm so proud of y'all to be representing us. So thank you for doing so. And is there anything else you'd like to share with our team?
Happy New Year to everybody back home in Louisiana.
Absolutely. Happy New Year. Thank y'all for covering this, and thank y'all for continuing to make Louisiana the best state in the world.
And don't forget to tune in to the Rose Parade this Thursday, January 1st, starting at 8 a.m. Pacific Time or 10 a.m. Central Time on NBC. That is going to be a very, very exciting day with the Rose Parade followed by the Rose Bowl. It's always a treat, especially if you're a college football fan. Again, that is this Thursday, January 1st at 10 a.m. Central Time. Now, one thing regarding technology that has come about recently when it comes to lots of businesses and organizations going paperless when it comes to cash payments is one of those features is tap to pay. And that is the process of pretty much just using a credit card or your iPhone in most cases to where you can just put your iPhone on the little reader and it'll instantly process the payment for you. It's very, very convenient, but it is something that is prone to hackers. And this is a huge target for scammers recently where criminals can charge your card without you even realizing it in some cases. And KTAL's Yalisha Gatewood sat down with a member of the Better Business Bureau to figure out how to protect yourself against these scams.
Tap to Pay has changed how we shop these days, but scammers are finding ways to take advantage of that. According to the Better Business Bureau Scam Tracker and the Federal Trade Commission, Tap to Pay fraud are increasing, with scammers using fake vendor setups to steal your money. Some thieves don't even need your wallet, just getting close may be enough.
What's happening is if someone sets up a payment and they bump into you, they can actually activate your card with simply a little bump. That's the same thing as, it used to be where they could just grab your wallet. So they don't need your wallet. They don't even need your card. They can just bump into you now and steal your money off of your card.
Joanne Deal with the Better Business Bureau in Monroe says there are warning signs to watch out for. For instance, being rushed at checkout or noticing small test charges on your bank statement.
Always just be very careful when you're entering your, PIN number. And if there's any time where you cannot enter it or not use radio frequency, that is the safest way to use your cards.
And when it comes to protecting your money, how you pay can make a difference.
The safest thing to do is use a credit card instead of a debit card.
Consumer experts also recommend setting up bank alerts to catch fraud early. Yalisha Gatewood, NBC 6 News.
And for more information, you can go to our website at ktalnews.com. Now, shifting gears a little bit to entertainment here on Tech Tuesday, where it's kind of a broad term for the things that I kind of want to throw in sometimes, and entertainment is one of them. If you've seen previous editions of the show, you know I'm a huge film lover, and especially when it comes to newer films and critiquing a little bit of them. But one film that is getting a lot of awards buzz this season is Hamnet, and this is directed by Chloe Zhao. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the story or what the movie is about, it is based on a 2020 novel of the same name by Maggie O'Farrell, who actually co-wrote the screenplay for the film with Chloe Zhao, the director. And it's about the relationship of Agnes Hathaway, who is played by Jessie Buckley, and William Shakespeare, who is played by Paul Mescal right there. And it specifically harps and deals with the fallout from the tragic death of their 11-year-old son, Hamnet. And a lot of historians and scholars debate whether he is the direct inspiration for the now famous play Hamlet. And there's a lot of debate there, but I think it's pretty obvious that it kind of used that to honor him in a way. And that's pretty much what the film ends up portraying. If I'm not going to give anything away if you haven't seen it yet, but I highly recommend going to check it out. But it is a very, very emotional movie. Very, very, like, I was crying at the end. It rips your heart out. I'm not going to lie. It deals with a very, very tragic loss of their son. And it has already been getting so many praise, and for specifically Jessie Buckley, who plays Agnes Hathaway, she is pretty much, in my opinion, a lock to win Best Actress at the Oscars this year. I mean, she just delivers such a powerhouse performance in this, and just true raw emotion and pain that you can just feel in her performance. And it is remarkable what she does in this movie. And Paul Mescal, he also is really, really good in this as a kind of, the tortured artist, if you will, with William Shakespeare, where he is back and forth between London and raising a family while also trying to make a name for himself in the theater. And it just does such a beautiful job of balancing that and just showing how they grew up and how they raise a family and the fallout and the ramifications from losing their son, Hamnet, which in real life was William Shakespeare's only son, fun fact. And it's just very, very tragic to see that loss. He unfortunately succumbs to the bubonic plague, or the Black Death, if you will, which ravaged Europe in the 1600s. And I didn't know this at the time, but in real life, in England specifically, only about one third of children didn't live to see age 10, which is very, very unfortunate, and just shows you how far we've come in terms of medicine and advancements in technology. Hey, there's a Tech Tuesday reference for you. But in terms of awards buzz, when it comes to the Golden Globes, has already been nominated for 6 Golden Globe Awards, and that award show is coming up, actually. It takes place on January 11th, I believe, so we're 2 weeks away, or a little less than 2 weeks away from the Golden Globes. So this is the perfect time to catch up before then, so you can have a good idea of who you think is going to win. And if you have any predictions for award season this year, just let me know at amocklin@ktalnews.com. You can send me an email. We can discuss more, or we can just show who has any bold predictions for this year's awards that I can feature on the show. But in terms of the Golden Globes, like I said, it's been nominated for 6 categories, including Best Motion Picture in a Drama, Best Actress in a Drama, Best Supporting Actress, Best Director, Best Screenplay, and Best Original Score. So pretty hefty lineup in terms of the big hitters when it comes to major awards, and it's not the best indication when it comes to the Academy Awards or the Oscars, but it is like a little bit of a sign of things to come, if you will. I wouldn't take it with a huge grain of salt, but we'll just see how it plays out. I think in terms of Best Actress, I think that is an absolute lock, like no doubter. And I can also see it nabbing a Best Screenplay award as well. But in terms of the Academy Awards, they haven't released a shortlist for any of the acting or Best Picture or Director yet. But in terms of the other awards that will be featured at the Academy Awards, it has been shortlisted for Best Casting, Best Cinematography, and Best Music or Original Score, just like the Golden Globes. So it has been getting a lot of buzz, and I gotta say it does live up to that hype. I think, like I said, it's definitely a lock for at least Best Actress at the Academy Awards. I think Jessie Buckley delivers an unforgettable performance in this, and the American Film Institute actually named this as one of its top 10 films of 2025. So again, I highly encourage anyone who might be on the fence about it, or if you haven't even heard of it, to at least check it out to see if that is something you would do. But again, bring your tissues, because it is going to be a very, very emotional ride, but I promise you it is worth it. But looking ahead to some other potential Oscar nominees, specifically in a huge franchise, I'm talking about Avatar: Fire and Ash. It is the most recent installment in the Avatar franchise. It is the 3rd film after the original Avatar in 2009, and then The Way of Water in 2022. And the reason that Fire and Ash was able to come out so quickly after Way of Water compared to the original one is that both of those films were filmed pretty much simultaneously, but the visual effects elements of it kind of took a little bit of time. That's why it was 3 years instead of the 12 plus from the original to The Way of Water. And this one, in terms of visuals, it is also getting a lot of buzz, obviously, because visually, I mean, these might be some of the best looking movies that have been ever made. I mean, I don't think anyone's going to argue with that when it comes to the visual effects, the special effects, the CGI. It's pretty much all CGI characters aside from one human character, Spider, and then, of course, the U.S. military, who are all humans. But the Na'vi, or the blue creatures that you see in the films, is all CGI done through motion capture through very, very talented actors, including Sam Worthington, who plays Jake Sully, who's the main character, and then, of course, Zoe Saldana, who plays Neytiri, who is his wife in the film. And This one, when it comes to the Golden Globes, it has only been nominated for 2 compared to Hamnet. But when it comes to cinematic box office achievement, which is one of the categories it is nominated for, I think this one definitely has a shot of winning, and is also nominated for original song performed by Miley Cyrus. If you haven't checked that out yet, be sure to listen to that. It's very, very good. And as of this week, or last week of December 26th, it is the 7th highest grossing film of 2025 already. It feels like it just came out, but it is steadily climbing those ranks. So I definitely see it having a shot for cinematic box office achievement, or in layman's terms, it pretty much means that whoever made the most money that year, that's who the film is going to. So it's actually a pretty new award that they recently introduced to the Golden Globes. And whenever Barbie came out a few years back, that one took it home in a landslide. I mean, there was pretty much no competition when it came to Barbie. It made billions and billions of dollars. So I expect the same here with Fire and Ash. And in terms of the Academy Awards, it has actually been shortlisted for 4 awards, including Original Score, Original Song, like I mentioned, Best Sound, and Best Visual Effects. I think it is an absolute lock for Best Visual Effects. It has won every single time it has been nominated in that category, and I don't think that changes this year. I mean, I can go on and on about the visuals of this film. It is truly breathtaking, the world of Pandora, and it is amazing what is actually being put to screen. So I recommend seeing it in an IMAX format if you can, just on the biggest screen with the biggest sound possible. It is truly a cinematic event. And the National Film Institute also really put it in its top 10 films of this year, and it was also named to the top 10 by the National Board of Review. And while I don't agree with that, I still think it is an experience that, if you're a fan of the franchise especially, it is definitely worth seeing. But for me, it really didn't do a whole lot differently from the second one to warrant another one, if you will, because I felt that the story, it felt a little bit hollow. It was very nice, seeing the visuals and stuff, but, it just really didn't do it for me emotionally. But you might be different. I could be in the minority here. It seems to be because of how much money it makes at the box office and how many fans there are of this franchise. So, it could be for you. It's really not my cup of tea, if you will. I do love these epic space adventure movies and sci-fi. Like, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I love the Dune films from Warner Bros. But Avatar, the story, it really doesn't grip me that it does for most people, I would say. And the characters aren't really as memorable as I would like them to be, but that could be a different story for another day. But looking ahead to one of my favorite films, if not my favorite one of this year, I just saw it in theaters this past weekend. I'm talking about Marty Supreme, and this is directed by Josh Safdie, and it stars Timothy Chalamet, and it's loosely inspired by a real-life ping pong player named Marty Reisman, and this, of course, is played by Timothy Chalamet, and he does such a masterful job of doing so. I think this is a career-defining performance for him. He was absolutely incredible in this, and if he does not win the Oscar, I'm gonna riot. Like, I swear. Like, he absolutely deserves this one. He wants to be one of the greats. He said that in one of his speeches, and I think he is well on his way to doing so, because he is truly, in my opinion, the best actor of my generation. Absolutely. Although I know that Leonardo DiCaprio is going to be nominated again for One Battle After Another. I love Leo. He was incredible in that, but I feel like the bar is just way too high for him and what we expect of Leo when it comes to his performances, whereas Timothy Chalamet, he does not have that award under his belt. But I could see him following the same path of Leonardo DiCaprio, where for so long people were making jokes that he had never won an Oscar, he will never win one, and then he wins one for The Revenant, which isn't even his best performance, but he finally got what he deserved, and I'm scared that Timothy is going to follow that same path, so I'm hoping that the Academy has some sense and gives him the Oscar this year so we can put all those worries to bed, because he is truly incredible in this. And the cast is absolutely insane. I mean, you got Timothy Chalamet, of course. You have Gwyneth Paltrow. You have Odessa Azion, who, if you're a fan of I Love LA, HBO's new show, she's in that as well. It also has Kevin O'Leary, or Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank, if for all my Shark Tank fans out there. And it also has Tyler, the Creator, who is one of my favorite music artists of all time. And he does a pretty good job in his first major acting role in here. So I was very pleased with all of their performances. It is such a star-studded cast, and the awards buzz has been through the roof for this. The hype has been immense. I remember hearing about this movie a few years back, and the lengths that Timothy went to for this role. I mean, he started taking ping pong lessons and is actually really, really good in this movie at ping pong. But one thing that was of note, that his character wears glasses, and it was reported that he purposely started like messing up his eyes or wearing like colored contact lenses to kind of irritate his eyes a little bit, so that he required real life prescription glasses, and that's what he used for this movie. Which, you know, I love Timothy and all. It's amazing that the lengths he's willing to go for this role, but not the smartest decision in my opinion. I don't know if I would have purposely messed up my eyes to do this, but props to him for going that extra mile. And in terms of awards, it has been nominated for 3 Golden Globes, including Best Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy, Best Actor in a Musical or Comedy with Timothée Chalamet, and Best Screenplay. Now, I think that Timothy does take this one home in terms of Best Actor. In terms of Best Musical/Comedy, I also think it can win that one, but the competition this year is really, really stacked. I would hope that it wins both of those, but we'll see. In terms of the Academy Awards, it has already been shortlisted for 4 categories, including Best Casting, which I think it does have a real shot of winning, Best Cinematography, Best Makeup and Hairstyling, and Best Music or Original Score. Now, I do not think that it will win Best Makeup and Hairstyling. I think that one will go to Frankenstein, directed by Guillermo del Toro, because if you've seen that one on Netflix, it is incredible how they transformed Jacob Elordi as Frankenstein's monster, and I think that is a shoo-in for Best Makeup and Hairstyling, absolutely. But the film itself, very, very gritty. If you've seen Uncut Gems from Josh Safdie, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a very, very similar vibe. It's very like tension-filled and on edge, where a lot of stuff is happening at once, and you don't really know what's going to happen next. And there's a lot of just chaos that's involved with the decisions that the characters make and the repercussions and consequences of those actions that come to haunt them later on in the movie. So it's very, very stress-filled ride, but it's also such a great payoff at the end. And Marty in the movie is pretty much a scumbag the entire time, but you can't help but root for him at the end. It's just awesome to see you root for these like traditionally or objectively bad people. Like in Uncut Gems, for example, starring Adam Sandler. He's this degenerate, nobody likes him. He's made a lot of enemies, but, you can't help but root for him at the end of the day. There's just something about Josh Safdie and the way he directs these films that makes you want to root for these bad characters that are playing the protagonists in the film. But that's all I have today for today's edition of Tech Tuesday. Be sure to find more information on all of the stories that we covered on our website at ktalnews.com, which is also where you can find your breaking, local, and trending news stories. And is also the home of KTAL News Now, which streams every day, Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. on ktalnews.com. Again, if you have any bold predictions for this award season, be sure to hit my email at amocklin@ktalnews.com, and we can discuss anything. It can be entertainment, sports, technology-related things, you name it. Again, that's amocklin@ktalnews.com. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and be sure to tune in every single day for KTAL News Now at 1 p.m. But for now, I'm Anthony Mocklin. Have a great rest of your day, and thank you for joining me.